Alright, so mead day. This is my seasoning mix, and it is made up of cinnamon. It has rainwater in it, by the way. Mace, and cloves. And just so you know, I'm somewhere on in the interior of the property. So you may be able to hear a little background noise, maybe not, I don't know. Alright, so cloves. Now, I like my mead to be a bit dark. I like brown sugar in it. And of course, we have the honey. And just so you know, I only make this for my own personal use. Now, honey is antimicrobial, which, for those of you that don't know, means that honey, the bees make it in such a way where uh, bacteria and viruses have a difficult time growing in it. So, now, I've already got my active yeast. I heated water to in between 105 and 110. How you know you've got it perfect is once you get it, when you feel it's hot enough, drop a little bit of yeast in there, and if it starts foaming a little, then yeah, that's the perfect temperature. So, yeah. And I usually have to cut this like into thirds to get the mixture right. So I like pour third, 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 and then go from there to get my gallons. It's not an exact science, but it's mead, so it doesn't have to be an exact science. All right, so that's most of the honey. Now, this honey will not go to waste at all. Now, the bees in the right season like my honey so much. I mean, like my mead so much that they start coming around. Okay, let me add this. Well, let me first see if I need to add honey to. Oh, yeah, I do. So I just kind of eyeball it, and you can see that these two are almost even, but this third one has a little bit too much honey in it still. So I'm just going to put a little more in there. And a little more in here. Okay. Now I realize that this is less than sterile conditions. But that's okay. Because I'm equally sure when they first started making mead, they did not have sterile conditions. And I personally have never gotten sick. And anyone else that has had any has not gotten sick either. I have been making the mead for a bit now, so I kind of know exactly what I need to do. The only difference this time is the temperatures are cooler, so it is going to require a longer alcohol making time. All right, so I love to use the brown sugar as opposed to, the dark brown sugar as opposed to the light brown sugar. Or I do use it though. Um, I also use white sugar. I like the color of the mead with the dark brown sugar though. It makes it appear full body, even though it's probably not. Yeah, so I will have a longer, um, not fertilizing, but activating the alcohol. It'll fermenting. It'll take a longer time to ferment because of the cooler temperatures. Now I use bread yeast as opposed to wine yeast because wine yeast is much more delicate. It does not have the temperature range that bread yeast has. Bread yeast can remain active from 48 degrees to like maybe 102, and it will still remain active. Wine, not so much. So that's why I use the bread yeast. Now, the negative thing about bread yeast is if you overdo it on the yeast, it's going to give your mead a kind of a icky aftertaste. But I haven't had that issue yet, so it's basically 1 pack per gallon. Basically. Now, it seems kind of dark and gloomy. The sun was out just a bit ago, but I activated my yeast, so I can't wait for a sunny day unless I want to throw the yeast away, and I'm not a big fan of throwing stuff away unless it has to be thrown. Any food scraps or anything like that, they either become dog food or compost if they're appropriate. Okay, that was not enough. Hey, all right, Kitty, you can't help me with this. Alrighty. I really hope that you can see everything. I believe I mentioned that I'm kind of blind without the glasses, but there's a range, even with the glasses, that I can't really see well. Uh, so it's a disability that I've had to work with for a long time. Now, this is harvested rainwater. Then I have to leave enough room to be able to mix the ingredients well. And since the temperature right now is like 58 or so, that's well above the range for my yeast. All right, now I do have to shake it really, really good to get everything mixed. As you know, the cooler it is, the thicker the honey is, the more effort it takes to get that honey mixed through all the other ingredients. But I found that this is the best way to do it. Obviously, I saved these pickle jars and all the other variety bottles that I have for the mead. I have saved them. Now, one thing that I have learned with the mead, right? You cannot close it up completely. Once you get it into its permanent container, you cannot close it completely. You have to close it just enough to keep any insects out, but not enough where the fermentation process can blow it up, because it can. It can blow it completely up where it actually busts the glass, and then consequently you have sticky mead everywhere. So, however you're storing it, stuff like that, you have to store it a little open. Right, hold on just a second. So I basically have to keep shaking this mead. I also have to burp it because, believe it or not, the pressure builds up even during this process. So I have to release the pressure, and I have to keep shaking it until everything is very well blended. All right, and I can't get that one back open again. Yay. And as you can see, if you look here, all this honey here, yeah, I have to keep shaking until it doesn't look like this anymore. Now, I know that there's some beehives in the wild near here. And even though I've been paying attention, not right now because it's too cold for them and they seldom come out. I mean, they still occasionally do, but it's just one or two bees. Uh, but even though I've paid attention to the direction they're traveling back, I have not been able to narrow down where their hive might be, nor have I had the time to trek the couple of miles because their range is, a mile to a mile and a half, sometimes two, depending on what they're doing. I have not had the time nor the ability to track the hive down. All right, I've got to work hard to get this one. Oh, there we go. Yay. All right. Now, I don't want to stick anything in there because I don't want to introduce anything that will spoil my meat. Well, I'm going to have quite a bit of shaking left to do, so. Oh, I know. I know what I can do. I will pour some of it off. All right, so each one of these is for a gallon, and then I'll add more rainwater to shake the rest of it down. Now, I know that this isn't a food funnel, but it has been thoroughly cleaned. And like I said, this is for only for my personal consumption, so I'm not quite as cautious as I would be if if I were making it to give away or something like that. Oh yeah, okay. It's been a while since I made it, so I think I kind of forgot that I do this. So normally in the summer, between 7 and 10 days, my meat is fermented, and it's not a heavy ferment. It's not distilled, obviously. So, but it does have the alcohol content more than beer and less than wine. But I just love the fact that I can make my own alcohol because I do like to drink alcohol. Um, but I really like knowing exactly what's in my alcohol because I'm pretty sure there's no cockroach legs. Although the honey is processed, so a little bit iffy there. But now, once I get this jar totally clean, right, I will add rainwater to fill this gallon up to here. You have to give it breathing room, though. Wow, that already smells good. Yeah, yeah, it does. Now, I know that some of these gallons here got a little bit of dirt on the outside, but I'm very careful when I harvest the rainwater because I do intend it to be for our consumption. Now, we are pretty careful with our water usage up here because we do not have a functioning well yet. And all of our water we either have purchased from, whatever sources, and or we have harvested uh, rainwater. All right, so I've got just a little bit of seasoning down in there, but I think that'll be good. This just needs a little bit more water. All right, and that's pretty much my stop line. Now, I have the next 10 days where it is not going to get very much below 48 degrees. So, I will insulate the storage container that I use to hold the mead while it's fermenting. And it's just a black plastic tote with a locking lid, right? All right. That is fantastic. The yeast is already doing its bubbly thing, so that's great. So that's 1 gallon. Now, um, I use pine needles and leaves, 4 inches, because if you do the conversion, 1 inch of pine needle slash leaf insulation equals maybe a 2.3 or 3.85 R factor for insulation, or something very similar to that. My numbers may be a little bit off. So 4 inches is enough to equal a R13 factor, which is enough to keep my mead above the 48-degree mark if the temperature's only going down to about 40-ish, right? So that makes me real happy, super happy. And all right, guys, and that's my process. I'm gonna go ahead and end this video and then finish the other 2 gallons of this mead. Toodaloo, guys.